Friends, I wanted to make this video because this is the first time I'm going to file eviction for a tenant who is renting at my house. So how does that work? In my case, it's basically because of rent non-payment. So the issue is rent unpaid, right? Rent unpaid. So that's the issue, and I have followed up with the tenant multiple times. So I would say, just to explain the scenario, uh, March, we are here in 2026. March and April are the months. So for this month, rent, so the month of March 2026, he wrote me a email saying, well, he's going to be having difficulty paying the rent. Email expressing difficulty by paying rent for the month due to job loss. That's what he wrote in an email without calling me. So think of rent as, I'm just giving a rough example. So 1000 was the rent due. So this was due, and so paid and outstanding. So he paid nothing. So outstanding was, of course, the rent amount paid, and then what was due. So outstanding is, should I say this way? No, maybe the other way. So rent is due this much, and then outstanding is this much. So outstanding is $1000, and so that's what it is, $1000. So I followed up after this, asking him, okay, can he share a plan? This was an email he wrote me on March the 2nd. I wrote him back saying, well, can you share a plan? I may be able to have some flexibility on the late fee and stuff like that, but other than that, I would like to see the plan. Then I left it there thinking, sometimes you have to help other humans as well. So gave him some relaxation. He has been a good tenant. Then on the 21st, in fact, I followed up saying, well, you have not paid the rent and you're not responding with any plan. So March 21st, follow up for plan. Response was, oh, I'm still in that situation, in the same situation, but trying hard. Well, these things happen to all of us as humans. I also am living in a house. We have situations like these sometimes during our lives, so it doesn't mean you don't respond. So then I started to get a little worried and also angry or mad, because next month came, rent was due again, rent due 1000 here as well, and then he's not responding. So then I said, okay, now I have to take some action. The way it works, again, depending on which state you are in, what county you are in, there's a justice of peace court. So then I said, let me initiate the process of eviction, because I'm not sure what this tenant is going to do and how far am I going to take this back and forth. It's pointless. So we are into lease agreement, so that's an important document you should have. So I should list down what are the important documents, right, before you start thinking about a court case. So lease agreement, that's an important one. And then you should have so you should have waited for at least 3 days in that month. So normally in Texas, there are 3 days. Similarly, in other states, it may be the same or maybe different. I don't know. So wait for uh, rent unpaid until 11:59 p.m. on on third any month. So that's the cutoff. So if the tenant does not pay the rent by the third, just before midnight of that month, then it's late. So you need to wait for that. If the rent is still unpaid, then you can give the tenant a notice to vacate. So notice to vacate, that should be given after the third. So that means on the fourth, you're eligible to give that notice to vacate, fourth. Now there are a lot of templates out there online. You can use one of them, but in a nutshell, or in a summary, let's see if I have something I can read out. Hold on. Okay, one more. Okay, anyways, I'll skip that. So fourth of the month, you can put a notice to vacate on with the tenant. So again, use the language which you can find on the online tools. A lot of options are available. Keep in mind, you don't have to be talking about the rent or the late fee or too much of detail there. You can, but primarily what you need to talk about is the rent is unpaid, and then you are asking the tenant to vacate the property, um, and that is it, right? Within 3 days, the property needs to be vacated. Um, if you don't hear back after the third day, after you file the notice to vacate or put the notice to vacate uh, uh, in hands of the tenant, then you can file the eviction. So again, going back to the notice to vacate, it's a letter. How it is supposed to be given to the tenant. It could be in person, or it could be posted at the door in a sealed envelope. Keep in mind, the notice to vacate should have the tenant's complete name, the address, your signature. And so now, once you have that filled out and everything ready, post it at the door in a sealed envelope. The envelope should have the tenant's name and the address, and on the top you should write important document. Important document. So, and you can tape it on the front door, because there may be situations. In my case, the tenant has a big dog, and of course I don't access the property without him knowing, or again, I don't have a free access to the property. So I taped it on the front door. Just and keep in mind that you have to take a picture of that, of the posting at the door. The next is same day. You need to send the letter, send the notice through certified mail. Certified mail, and keep tracking number. number and receipt ready, and save. So this is important. Now you give notice to vacate on the 4th, and you wait for 1, 2, 3 days, right? So 4th if you gave the notice, that means on the 8th you can file for eviction in court, Justice of Peace Court. Justice of Peace Court. So same thing which I was saying here. Justice of Peace. You can file eviction on the 8th. So it's around $140 fee at the court, and you need to fill out a form which they will give you. They will ask you to fill out tenant name, if you have the tenant's DL number, if you have his email address and phone number. Maybe, I don't think it's phone numbers. Primary name, email address, DL number, and expiration of DL. I think those are the things which you need to fill out on that form, and of course the reason for filing for eviction, you'll have to specify that on the form as well. Now once you have filled out that form, the court is going to give you a date of hearing. In my case it's the 27th. So I'm going to go to the court on the 27th for this hearing. Reading online, the important documents which I have to carry are the lease copy, a copy of the lease. Then you need to have notice to vacate copy. Then you have to also carry pictures as proof of posting the notice. Then you have to carry the tracking number of certified mail. And then you need to carry a ledger, something like what you see here. It's like a ledger, by month, by year, what was due, what was paid, what is outstanding, and then maybe some comments of why what was outstanding and what happened, just to explain. Primarily these are the columns you'll need on that ledger, so you can clearly explain to the judge, this is the situation, where was the problem. So I'm going to carry this. What else? I think any copies of any communication, just in case. I would also carry the bank statement, proofs of payment or non-payment. Right, so all these documents I'm going to carry. Of course, you need to carry the filing or the eviction document as well, which court issued. That's it. I think these are the things I'll carry. So Monday or 27th is the day I'm going to go to the court. This is my first time. I don't know how it's going to work, but in a way it is also important. As a landlord, one needs to know, because you never know who the tenant is or how the situation changes, and you need to get into the mode of being able to do it yourself, evict, file the eviction, and take action. I'll keep you posted in the next video of how that eviction process goes and the court hearing goes, and hopefully this is going to be helpful, at least for the time being. Thanks for watching. Again, this is something I've never dealt with, but it should not be that difficult. I mean, It's a simple case of rent not paid, and I have all the proofs. So yeah, if you have any comments, just leave them in the comment box below. I'll be more than happy to answer or help. And also, if you have any feedback on your case, just you know put in some comments on that as well, so others can take the benefit. Thank you.